Hello, my name is Sarah. Welcome to Low-Sal-life. Today we are going to talk about a couple of things. Mostly where I see the low-salicylate community going in the future and what our role is, both my role as somebody who's making content and educational materials for people with salicylate sensitivity, and then also what your role is. So stick around to the end. We're gonna go backward chronologically. So we will start with my vision in 5 years and go from there. So if you're new here or new to the salicylate sensitivity group, we are sensitive to salicylates or aspirin compounds. It is not fun because we can't eat very many things, and most of us are also sensitive to absorbing it on our skin in cosmetics or also inhaling it through fragrances or chemicals and cleaners and that kind of thing. So it makes life a little bit challenging. And people have been treated or have known about this for decades. One of the most important studies came out in 1985 by Anne Swain and her colleagues, which measured the levels of salicylates that occur naturally in food. So mostly they tend to run high in fruits and vegetables, oils, spices, and mint, a lot of manufactured chemicals and fragrances. So it makes things challenging. So my channel, you can check out my website, low-sal-life.com. I found out I'm salicylate sensitive about 3 or 4 years ago, and it's made a world of difference in my health. Before, I just had all sorts of weird stomach problems, migraines. I have a muscle disorder called dystonia that's come into remission since switching my diet. And I am doing so much better health-wise since switching my diet. And if I would have known, I could have been much healthier for a long time. And I think that the reason why I think that I've been salicylate sensitive for a long time, like my whole life, like since I was a baby. So I think that there is a lot of evidence to support that idea. And my mom was also salicylate sensitive. So, you know, things, it is a weird place to know that you have this and to go to your doctor and they don't know what you're talking about and can't even pronounce the word. It is a little concerning. That is not the case in all countries. The UK and Australia tend to have some of the most awareness around it, and clinics and doctors who specialize in salicylate sensitivity. In the US, you're kind of left up to working with naturopathic doctors or nutritionists or dietitians that might be educated in it, but the medical association doesn't acknowledge it as an actual condition, which is really concerning. They will acknowledge that you can have aspirin sensitivity or casually call it aspirin allergy. So that's an issue. So let's talk about community and where we all fit in this. Because it is a rare condition, meaning that nobody believes in it here in the US, just like climate change and other things. It makes it really challenging to also find other people or find support groups or that kind of thing, and find those doctors that are educated in it and find researchers who are working in it. So my background is I have a degree in biology. I am a plant nerd, and so I actually study plants even though they have salicylates in them. It was kind of, I started with plants and then found out about salicylate sensitivity later. So the two kind of, I think I would have picked a different career path if I was interested, if I had known, but what are you gonna do? All right, so the question is, what would we need from community, or what could a community provide to us that would benefit us? So some of the things include how do people get diagnosed, that are sick and don't know that they're salicylate sensitive. So one of that is educated doctors and researchers, and then also people talking about it and spreading the word. That's basically how gluten intolerance sensitivity, spread outside of celiac. So how do we get diagnosed? The second thing is what foods can we eat? The food lists are terrible. There's not a single food in the US that's been tested. So, we're kind of out on our own here, and there's a lot of discrepancies. And of course, food manufacturing practices change depending on what country you live in too. So that's a thing. Or what varieties of plants are being made. So, what foods are safe to eat. Another thing that we want to know is how did we get this? Like what's the problem? What caused it? Is it genetic? Is it, there's some dust mite allergy theories. There is, mold exposure, chemical exposure. You have heavy metal damage. You have, a sick liver. There's so many different theories. I think that there could be several contributing factors, but we're not on the we're not here to talk about that right now. Basically, how did it happen? And then, of course, usually if you can figure out the how did it happen, the other question is how do you treat it? So what can we do to either reduce our reactions, or what can we do to get rid of this or cure ourselves? So those are the four main things that we want to ask. And this was about community too. So we'll say, how do we meet and find other people that are like us? How do we, swap information? How do we, nurture and build each other up? So those are the 5 needs I feel like are the biggest things that we need to address as a community. And you're here on this channel watching and listening. You're emailing me, you're contributing, so that is so awesome. And I can't wait until we get a good group of people in the future and that this ball starts rolling. So let's start at the very back side, like where I see us going and what's possible. One thing, so I've had dystonia, muscular levodopa responsive dystonia, for about 15 years. My dad also has Parkinson's. He's been about 15 years into. We got MRIs in the same month, and good times. So, and we take the same medicine. Or I don't take medicine anymore, but I did. I took levodopa for probably about 8 years. Anyway, probably about 10 years. So one thing about both dystonia and Parkinson's that I've noticed that the salicylate group doesn't have, they have research, they have doctors, and of course approved by medical association that these are actual real conditions, and they have nonprofit organizations working on these problems for us. They're the watchdogs. They're the ones generating a lot of interest, education, and research around their conditions. And the salicylate community doesn't have that. I would love to see in 5 years a nonprofit for salicylate sensitivity be started. I don't want it to be, specifically for fibromyalgia or specifically for, leaky gut syndrome or for salicylate people with dust mite allergy or people that have anemia and salicylate, a low-sal diet helps. I want this to be about education. They can bring in dollars, they can do fundraising, and with those they can work on educating the public, educating doctors, finding researchers, and funding them with paid grants. That's how we get our food lists, people, is getting researchers and paying them to test our food. So I imagine that a salicylate sensitivity nonprofit organization needs to happen in our future if we want to unite as one group of people worldwide to make that happen. I think it'd be amazing if it happened in the US, since there's so much work that needs to be done here for education. I would really like to see that happen. I am not in the business of nonprofit organizations. I do a substantial amount of nonprofit work with the Plant Society here in Washington State, and it's great. It's very enjoyable. I love contributing my web skills and design skills to that organization. but I love to start a project and finish it and not work with a board and not work with a committee and things like that. And that's just my personality. I am very introverted. I want to be behind the scenes and work on things. So I don't think that I'm the one that needs to start this nonprofit. I'm just saying that in the masses of thousands and thousands of people worldwide, that hopefully we can unite some of these people that are really passionate about it or have some talent. I have talent, I can bring talent, and start a nonprofit. Those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think. I will make a page on my website where, maybe I'll figure out how to get comments on there so people can contribute and say if they think it's a good idea or a bad idea, or, how we're going to start this. So if you're into building nonprofits, I would love to be on the board, but that's probably about my contribution. I can probably build a website too. In conjunction with that, but this can start before a nonprofit. We're on the second item. In conjunction or slightly before, we need to get researchers paid to do work on this. So all of the clinical trials that I've seen for salicylate sensitivity, again, anything that I find, I put on Low-sal-life.com/research. Those are all the research articles related to this that I find original research. We need to pay people to do this research. Now, I work in a university and work with the research grant process. I don't actually do research. I help with the administrative work of it and helping with program management and that kind of thing. It's hard to apply for a grant in the United States and say, hey, let's test all of these foods for people who are salicylate sensitive, when the medical association doesn't believe that salicylate sensitivity is a thing, right? So money isn't going to be funneled into something that's not a thing. So that makes it really hard in the US. And I think that's the biggest reason why funding has happened in other places like the UK and Australia and Poland, and I think I've seen Germany. So it'd be really nice to find some chemists, food chemists, biologists, microbiologists, anybody in that field that is interested and passionate about doing research, that we can somehow find them. If they're passionate about it, they can write the grant and get funded for it. But basically, I think that's the reason why nonprofit work and fundraising would be beneficial. Anyway, I think those two go hand in hand, but we could always, I don't know how we find money to pay for researchers. It'd be really great. I did try and track down some researchers to see if I could collaborate with them. Like I said, I am a biologist, so I have some pretty basic fundamentals. I'd be happy to write the grants, but haven't really found anybody to work with on that. So that is another need. So backing up a little bit, the third thing is me and my place for this community and how we can get to the next two steps. Obviously, I have a website that I've built. That is my skill, is building websites, making them look pretty. It's very relaxing to me for the most part. And I've really done this because I was so sick for so long. I don't want other people to suffer the way that I had. And I love reading those little comments that was like, I've been to the hospital 10 times for anaphylaxis, and this is the first time anybody ever said that I could be reacting to food in addition to aspirin. Those things are so important. Or I have a child and we change the diet and their behavior is so much better. They're not banging their head into a wall anymore. That makes me happy. And so that's the main reason why I started this. And also to generate and collect my thoughts so they're all in one place. So that is my role for the community, is providing this space for you guys to come and become educated, look at the real research, be able to take those research articles to your doctors and educate them. I mean, you might not go back after that, but keep up these conversations. And I'm not rich. I work full time. This is a side gig for me. Like, sometimes I have to take a little bit of a break and balance out other portions of my life, but I do have a monetization plan, and I wanted to bring this up today because in the last 3 weeks, it came to my attention that there's YouTube ads on my YouTube videos. Now, some of you guys might have thought, wow, she's made it. She's monetizing and making money off the videos that she made so that she can funnel that and either pay for her student loans or put more money into the Low-Salicylate community and education. That is not the case. I have to have 1,000 subscribers to monetize, and YouTube has changed their policies where they can monetize on my videos even and my content and not pay me. So until I get to that 1,000 subscriber mark, I'm not able to do that. I have no control over the ads. Once I get to that monetization level, just to let you guys know, like, if I have control over like not having food ads or not having Febreze or perfume ads or political ads, like I would prefer to make that a possibility. I don't want you guys to watch a video on like Big Mac hamburgers if you guys are not able to eat yellow cheese or tartar sauce or pickles, right? So, those are things that concern me. I have no control over that, and it's really frustrating. But the goal is, basically, in a year, the website costs me about $500 to run. That doesn't include my time or labor or the time and labor that I put into the videos on the weekends. And so, if you want to support my channel, there are a couple ways that you can. One is subscribe. Once I get to that 1,000 viewer mark, I can monetize and make a few dollars off the AdSense. And then I also have small control over which ads can be played. So subscribe, that is very helpful. I do have really good watch times. You guys hang in there through my extremely long videos. I appreciate it. And so the watch time shouldn't be an issue for me to meet. The second way that you can contribute to the channel is through purchasing off of my links. I do have Amazon links set up in the directory, and that helps. I mean, so far I've made 64 cents in like 3 months. But if you purchase, if you know that you need to buy, clear mascara, which I put up today, you can purchase through that Amazon link. You just click on it and you just purchase it through Amazon. This works in the US only right now. I don't think I'm going to set up the other countries right away. What that does is you pay normal price, and then Amazon will give me, I think it's 1% on most of the food and beauty products that are on there. So, enough of you guys do that. That's a big help. One thing that Amazon does that is very generous is not just on those items that I list. So one of the purchases I saw, and I know I don't have this on my list, somebody went in and looked at, who knows what, a deodorant, and they ended up buying peanut butter. Now, that peanut butter purchase, even though they bought something else, I still got a little bit of a percentage off of that. And so that is also helpful. So if you know you have an Amazon purchase and you want to support me and the channel and help contribute in that way, even if you're buying something like a record player or, lawn furniture or something like that off of Amazon, if you go through and click on, a soap from Amazon, and then at the same time, don't get the soap but buy something else, that also contributes to some income for this channel. And the last thing is I did sign up for Buy Me a Coffee. So a lot of you guys have asked how you can contribute to me, and I appreciate it. Basically, I have bills and student loans. I work full time at a state position. Let me tell you, it's not a ton of money. So anything that you contribute to me is helpful. I basically have a three-way plan. All the profits that I get, a third goes to taxes, a third goes to like student loans or me personally, and then a third goes back into the channel and to keep things going. That's after like the website's paid for and fees and different things like that are paid for. So what that means is if I feel like trying out a cashew butter and being your own human puppet tester, I can buy that cashew butter, off Amazon or eBay or something and give it a try and let you guys know what I think. So it does help me test. There's also one other thing that I am working on, and I'm just going to bring this up. I promise nothing. I used to work at a food lab. I did purchasing and business work for a food lab that was international. And the other day I was thinking, they tested so many things. They mostly did microbiology and protein for allergies. I was in charge of the allergy kits because I was the most educated person on allergy proteins there. But I started thinking, they actually test for a lot of other chemicals. And while they're not able to help us with testing salicylates, I did contact a colleague and she recommended 2 labs. So I've reached out to them, and they're also very large international labs, and they do different chemical and cosmetic testing. So I am wondering if we can do our own commercial testing for salicylates. I mean, how much are we willing to pay to find out if jojoba oil or jojoba oil, I don't know how you pronounce it, or, a certain type of MCT oil is safe, or if the clear shampoo conditioner with coconut products is actually salicylate free. Wouldn't you want to know that? I want to know that. So, I mean, if the tests are like $300 each, I think we could probably get that together. If they're $600, I think that's reasonable. I've looked into the process. Even if I bought the equipment myself, it would be about $10,000 or $15,000. That doesn't include the electrical upgrades I would have to make to my house, or if I'm even legally able to have the chemicals in my house. I don't know if that's allowed or not. And how do I get the chemicals here? I live in a very rural area. So basically, if I were to do the testing myself, it would probably be a minimum of $20,000. So a test of $600 for a company to test it for us, that might be not a terrible idea. At least to get us until we're at that nonprofit, having money for research level, like that would be really great. Okay, and the fourth thing about the salicylate community is obviously you. And so the question is, and I've had this question from several people, how can I help now? What can I do now? Like, I work full-time, I'm a parent, and I have a few hours a week, or, that kind of thing. Some of the biggest ways that you can help, and you can certainly help me, and I can help you too, is sharing your knowledge as far as what you can eat and what you can use and how you manage this. The way that I built the website is that it has every directory product and every recipe has a place for you guys to log in and rate them. And I'll do a whole video on how to, but basically if I put up my hemp organics lipstick, which a lot of people use, I use it, I don't have a problem with it. It has both hemp oil and castor oil. Those are kind of controversial as far as salicylate sensitivity goes, but a lot of salicylate sensitive people do really well with it. So rather than going on a forum and 500 people arguing about how it's bad or not bad and how it's like, oh, I can use it, no, I can't use it, the rating system allows you to go in and say, I really like this product, I've never had a reaction to it, I am salicylate sensitive and amine sensitive, and it works great for me. I love this color, right? So you can go in and rate it, and your knowledge and expertise with you dealing with you and you being, one person of many, that really, really helps. it's really trendy to find things with, like fluoride toothpaste has been on my mind. Like, is fluoride bad for you? Like, I don't want to get into that. But if people are like, hey, I found this fluoride toothpaste and it works great, it's got some questionable components, like vague components, right? But it works great. So, like, in that case, we want to know, is there 300 people with salicylate sensitivity that are able to handle this? We want to know that. And if you have tried it and it works terrible, you would put a 1 on there. And if it works great, you would put a 5 on there. And then people can go in and say, oh, look, there's 300 people that have rated these items, and it looks like it's a 4.5, which means that it's both a good product and that they didn't react to it. So that is one way that you can contribute. The recipes, I am like a 15-minute and under kind of cook, and so I don't always, and I'm very simple, and I'm okay with routine. So filling out the recipe section isn't my strength. I've created the recipe section. That is my strength. But actually taking pictures and trying new recipes, I don't really care about that so much. I mean, sometimes it's fun. Sometimes I get hungry, but what do you do when you have a 7-year-old who doesn't want to eat something, and you have to be creative and, make, owl pancakes or something like that. Like, that's what we need. And that's what your expertise is. Also, like, I don't have kids, and obviously I'm middle-aged, and I don't fit a lot of categories. I'm not a parent. I'm not a child. I'm not an old person. Like, I don't know, like my dad, you have to get, denture cream. Is there a concern with denture cream and salicylates? Is there an issue or concern with diaper cream and salicylates? I don't know which, if somebody asked me, like, my kid has a rash, like, what can I use? I have no idea. That's what your experience is, and that's your contribution to the community, is helping new people who are coming into this feel welcomed, feel comfortable, and have a really good set of resources for both finding products that you can use, having a good list, that food list, that's my contribution, right? If you guys can contribute products and recipes for those new people so they feel comfortable and that it seems achievable, and they're not limited to baking soda for their dental needs, right? Like, that is where we start as a community member. There's other ways too. The forums are okay. I am not a forum gal. I like Facebook groups is a place where I go to die. There's just so much back and forth, and it's like, well, this works for me. Oh, this is terrible. Like, that's not my favorite place. And, if you are gifted and enjoy those places, continue to educate and, broaden people's horizons in those forums. I know that there is a lot of good information in there, and, my heart goes out to people who are moderators. The last thing, of course, is to continue talking about it and educating people and educating your doctors. So that's the reason why that research page is available, so that you can link to it and find information. And that's the reason why I'll continue to do videos on research and show you what is good about those articles and what's bad, so that you can have an educated so that you can be educated when you go and talk to your doctors. So anyway, I think that's it. Thank you for hanging in there. I'm sorry I've been gone. I've had some family stuff to work with. My mom passed away in October, and so we're dealing with, my brother and I have new roles, right? My dad has Parkinson's, and, we gotta take care of her belongings, and we have to file their taxes, and fun stuff like that. So I've just needed a little bit of time for myself, and I'll be back. I'm here. I'll keep on going. So anyway, I hope you feel encouraged and have some ideas about where I'm going with this and why I'm passionate about it. And I hope that you guys have a wonderful day. Anyway, you can find me on Instagram or Facebook at Low-sal-life, or you can contact me through my form on low-sal-life.com/about. And I think that's all I've got for today. Take care. See you guys later. Bye.